Hello and welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. Well, you know how I like to get my videos always started with a moment of silence followed by the serenity prayer for the addict who still suffers. So if you would, a moment of silence, please. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Alrighty, well, let's get started. Well, I wanted to talk to you, I guess, today a little bit uh, about losing someone. Um, and I attended a meeting uh, today, earlier today, and it was kind of, every now and then you get into these meetings, and there's a tone or just a sense of how the meeting was going to go. And this meeting was a good meeting. It was just seemed like a gloomy meeting in a sense. Kind of a tone of do I matter in a sense. You know what I mean? Kind of like and that's why I'm here in this camouflaged looking background and with what I'm wearing, because sometimes we feel like and as addicts and stuff, we sometimes feel like we're in the environment that we're in, but we're camouflaged in there. Nobody sees us. A lot of times we're sitting there crying for help, but nobody hears. Sometimes you um, want somebody to hear you, but you can't get yourself to talk. You can't get yourself to take that first step to action. And sometimes um, we're so involved in the addiction that it's a cunning and baffling addiction. It's the part of the addiction that I call, or that I know that the big book and the NA book, AA book, they call it the insanity part of the addiction. Because no matter where you're at or what you're doing, if you're addicted to something and you just constantly and keep doing something that you know in your mind and in your heart and your soul that it's wrong and that it's killing you, but you continue to do it, and you want to scream out for help, but you're so camouflaged into your environment that nobody sees you. Nobody just passes you by. And that's the stronghold of the addiction. So sometimes when that happens, the addiction takes you. It doesn't bring you back. And this past weekend I found out that two friends of mine were that exactly happened to them, and the addiction took them. The world of addiction and drugs and alcohol took them to the next realm, and they didn't come back. And these two people were roughly about my age, and I just I was heartbroken when I heard about it. And so I've been kind of in this gloomy state, in this kind of just sad, kind of going through the motions type thing. And it brings back memories of when I lost two people in my life that meant something to me. That one of them was somebody who he was my go-to guy. You know what I mean? Anytime I had problems in my life, or things were going south, or I just needed somebody to talk to, this person was the guy that I called. And I would talk to him, and he was my Uncle Rainey. And my Uncle Rainey took the place of my dad, who died of alcohol and drugs. And so I always wanted my dad to be that guy, you know what I mean? But he didn't make it. He wasn't able to be that man for me. And so I leaned on to the next thing, which was my Uncle Rainey. And my Uncle Rainey was the coolest dude, man. And I miss that guy a lot. And but he was the man that I would call when I needed manly advice in life. You know, whether it was my relationship, whether it was my work, whether it was just life in general, or even in the addiction, you know what I mean? He was the man that I would call that would, you know, give me that, you know, that kind of, that pep talk in a sense, you know what I mean? That things were going to be okay. And once I lost him, then I was on my own after that, you know what I mean? And so I didn't have another, I had more uncles and cousins and that sort of thing, but nobody ever like that, you know what I mean? And so my Uncle Rennie was that dude. And when I heard this past weekend about my two buddies passing away to the addiction, I was like, man, it's you know, I'm grateful that I'm where I'm at today. I'm grateful that I was able to see the light. You know, I was grateful that the smoke cleared for me. And but I stop and think, why? Why me? You know what I mean? You know, myself and those two guys, you know, there was nothing, you know, better than I'm not better than any of those two dudes. You know what I mean? Why did I get chosen to be in the realm of recovery and positivity? And they got you know, tied down to the stronghold of the addiction and ultimately paid the price of their life to that. And I don't understand sometimes, you know, and that's one of the things that it's mind-boggling. You know what I mean? It's like, why? You know, it's one of the soul-searching things that I'm still trying to figure out in my recovery. And you know, one thing that I do know is that if I continue to keep, you know, healthy boundaries in my life, then I may one day see, you know, maybe it'll come to me. But, you know, as far as I can see right now, I think and I feel it in my soul that I'm supposed to reach out. I'm supposed to sit here and make videos and talk about the addiction, talk about the recovery, talk about both journeys, because I was one of the lucky ones. I was one of the chosen ones, I'm assuming. And when you're lucky and you're chosen to get out of a realm like that, your due diligence should be to share and let people know what happened to you and how you were able to get out and what you're doing to stay out. You know, what you're doing, you know, what kind of things that you're putting in place into your life, you know, that you hadn't before. And, you know, you find purpose in a sense. You know what I mean? And first and foremost, I understand that I had to be selfish, even though I was already selfish in my addiction. You know, I didn't care about anybody or anything except myself and the drug, including family. That's how cunning and baffling the disease is. But what I do know is that I was given a chance. And I have a choice to lead a life of recovery, positivity, sobriety, and try to be a messenger in the recovery community and in the faith-based community both, to talk to people, to share my story, to, you know, bring awareness to any and everybody who would listen. And one of the ways I'm doing that is by doing this podcast, by doing these videos, that hopefully I can reach as many people as I can, and hopefully that the experiences that I have gone through and the adversities, along with the things that got me to where I am today, and by me being able to share those by the way of projecting things out of my voice so that it rings in somebody's ear, in their mind, in their heart, in their soul, that they too may see and feel the world of recovery and positivity like I have. And I'm saddened by my brothers who have gone, but I'm also grateful that I was able to spend time with them. You know, the time that I did spend with them, people were times of stories that I have that can help somebody else. Because one of my friends that passed, he was hurting. I know he was hurting because he had lost his brother, and he was in a depression because of that, and he was on the verge of losing his family as far as his marriage goes. And so he was going through these adversities in his life that were just trials and tribulations, and unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to get out of it. And but if I can share the stories of things like that, so that maybe it wakes up somebody out there who's listening to this podcast, who's able to hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, and maybe it resonates with them in their soul, in their heart, in their mind, that if they're going through the loss of somebody, if they're going through a depression mode, if they're going through an anger mode, if they're going through just this chaotic life that we have, that we're living in, because our environment is terrible now. And if I can project some positivity to somebody to get on that first rung of that ladder to start climbing out, then that's my due diligence to do that. And I pray for everybody who is dealing with things like that, because it's a problem. It's a problem in the city that I live in. It's a problem in the city that you live in. It's a problem in the rural areas where you live in, and just abroad. You know what I mean? This is an issue that is not only, you know, there's no prejudice to this issue. This issue runs over any race, any gender, any age. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. You know, addiction of alcohol and drugs has no mercy on anybody. It doesn't care who it is or what it is. It's gonna, if it gets in you, it'll run over you if you let it. And by the grace of God, I'm out of that realm, and I can be here to teach somebody, to encourage somebody, to set those healthy boundaries, to, you know, navigate your way to a positive life, to leave that world of negativity and just madness. There's you know, there's many ways to go about it, but I think the very first thing is you got to be selfish. And when I say that, I mean you got to be selfish. You got to look within. You have to take time and seclude yourself somewhere and talk to yourself in that inner being and find it. Find it, because it's in you. Just like it was in me, and it is in me. It's a part of your soul. It's a part of your self being, that there's a stronghold that everybody has. You just have to get in there and get it, and say, I've had enough. I'm ready. I'm ready to live in that world of positivity. And if you consistently do things like that on a consistent basis, I can guarantee you that this will happen for you. It's not an easy journey, but it's an attainable journey. It wasn't an easy journey to become an addict. And a lot of people like myself, we didn't know we were addicts. Just one day something happened, and you found yourself in a situation. Because I've been an addict. I started my first taste of alcohol and drugs when I was in the first grade. You know what I mean? I was probably an addict by the time I was 18. I had no idea. You know what I mean? The concept of post-traumatic stress and just traumatic stuff in general, we didn't know about. How we couldn't doctor that back in the day. It was those type of things were really those things that we would just brush under the freaking carpet, if you will, and not talked about. If a lot of it, especially for males, it was a sign of weakness if you told somebody that you were having issues, that you were depressed, or that you were going through these emotional things. Emotional traumatic stress was totally something that males were, especially for me, it was in a Hispanic family. That was the last thing that you could do, was show emotion and cry and all that kind of shit. So you had to deal with it, and when you deal with it, what you're doing is you're suppressing those feelings. And when you're suppressing those feelings, you bottle them up, eventually they got to come out somewhere. And for me, they came out in the addiction of alcohol and drugs. And for a lot of people, it's different. Some people, it's suicide. For some people, it's a different type of an addiction. For some people, it's an eating disorder, perhaps. For some people, it's just psychosis, depression, just a bunch of different things. And it is unfortunate, but there's a lot of the population in the United States that is like that, and if we don't address it and we don't try to help people, then things are just going to get worse. The people OD and die of drugs on the daily. It's not something that just happens here and there. It happens every day, and in the hundreds, thousands probably every single day. So this is not something that is going to go away. It's just going to probably progressively get worse. And but if we can bring awareness and just plant that seed in somebody's mind, in somebody's ear, in somebody's heart, in somebody's soul, the more we do that, the more people we can save. And by the grace of God, I'm sitting here talking to you sober, and I hadn't had a drug in a while, and I'm grateful for that. I really am, and the more you do positive things, and the more positive things you put into your life, the more things that are positive come your way. And for me, from being a homeless addict in the streets, I'm getting, my life is getting back together, and that's recovery. Recovery is recovering things, and that's the whole word. That word recovery, that is the whole meaning of that in the sense of being addicted to something, is that you're finally you finally have stopped doing the addictive process, and now you're recovering things that you've lost. And for me, that's recovering the relationships with my kids. And, now I talk to my kids on the daily, and now I'm recovering my home, and, I'm not going to be in the streets anymore, and I'm recovering, finances and that sort of thing. So, and I'm helping people out, helping other people who were in the same position that I was in, and I am doing my due diligence by going to meetings and going to my peer support groups, and just sharing messages in these videos that I do, and that's the sole purpose of it, is to try to help out as many people as I can, to bring awareness that they too can come to this world of positivity and recovery. And I'm looking, in the near future. I got a few projects coming up that I believe is going to catapult the whole, my whole thing that I'm trying to accomplish with, being the recovery plug. I want to recover as many people as I can in the things that I do, and it starts right here with these videos on this podcast. And I got a few projects coming up, and I just pray about it, and I hope, and I ask that you pray for me, that these things come about, because there are going to be things that are going to help the community of addiction, and to come into this world of recovery and positivity. So I'm excited about it, and I hope that today I was able to, reach somebody. I hope that today my message resonated with somebody out there in the audience, somebody out there, whoever's listening to this, wherever you're at. And if it has, please leave me a comment, leave me a message, and let me know if it has, and where you're from, and that way I can keep notes. And I like to journal and keep notes and all those things of people that are being affected, and that sort of thing. And so if you would, I would really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button on my channel, and share my channel. Give me a thumbs up, send me a message. I would appreciate it all. It really helped me out in launching off the next projects that I got coming up. So I guess that's going to be it for today. I really hope that I've reached somebody, and I guess, if nobody hadn't told you that they cared for you, or if they love you, man, you know what, I care. And I love you guys, so I really appreciate you guys listening to me, and hopefully today will be that first day for you. And if you're already in the world of recovery, hopefully this gives you a reminder, and gives you a boost in your recovery. So I guess until the next time on When the Smoke Clears, I am the Recovery Plug.